All right. That was it. We are on. How about it? So, welcome to another collaborative conversation. My guest today is James Lightner. I want to say thank you, starting off with sharing your time, sharing your wisdom, and just being open to having a collaborative conversation. This is something that I've been doing basically most of the year, bi weekly, just having different people on because I think that we all have wisdom. I think that just having conversations with people, there's a lot of change, healing information that can be shared. And my hope is that with speaking with people, it helps someone else because you never know.
Absolutely.
So, so thank you once again. And would you like to start off by telling me a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Um, I am a Christian man. I was born and raised in South Carolina.
Uh huh.
I have three kids: a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 6-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
A full-time barber,
Okay.
um, and I enjoy going to church and traveling when I can.
Okay. So, you're a barber for how many years would you say?
Since about 2005, so that'll put me over 15,
Mm-hmm.
uh, 18, 19 years.
Okay. So, did you do it professionally first, or did you, you know, how some people start off in a house and then they start, actually doing it professionally? Was it something that you always knew that you wanted to do?
Um, I kind of started up at the house first. I have a mother that's a beautician and aunts beautician, so my mother kind of taught me into going into that field. So I kind of started off at the house first, and then I went to school and left school and started doing a professional in 2005.
Oh, nice. Okay. So, if you were a book, what would the title of the book be and why?
Um, if I were a book, I would say the book would be People Judge, but we all fall. And the
Ooh.
reason that I say that is we all got our we all got our journey in life that we have to go down, and then knowing and understanding that we all are gonna fall someday,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then knowing that it's not good to judge, or you don't want anybody to judge you while you are pretty much down. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the reason why I say that, because we all going, nobody's perfect, and we all going, have our time to where we down and we're gonna need somebody. So it's so easy for us to look at somebody else and judge them.
Right.
So I think we all should just be mindful of, understanding that our time is coming too.
I think that is a true statement. And I think I was like, okay, people judge. When you first said that, I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, but when you said, but we all fall, I was like, oh, okay. It's like, isn't the thing not to judge, but it's the truth. For whatever, however you want to call it, whether it's a judgment, whether it's an assessment, I think sometimes we always see other people through our eyes and our experience and what we think people need to be doing, as opposed to allowing for their life and their experience for their life to be what it, kind of shapes out to be. And like you said, we all do have these areas where, or time frames, whether it's a month, a year, 5 years, or whatever, where things, well, we may hit a wall or a challenge, and
Right.
it's not about, the falling part, but it is about getting up and that, like you said, we do have support systems that we can reach out to. Um, hopefully, I would say that we have a support system to reach out to
Right.
because I think sometimes we take for granted even that, that, you know, we do have support systems because some people, for whatever reason, may or may not have the same support system for so when they do fall. Um, so with that being said, and you starting out the conversation with that you're a Christian man, how much has your faith helped during the times that you would say that you know had challenges or that you know may have failed for a reason or another?
Uh, Most of the time when you kind of do things, want to do things by yourself or on your by your, your
Mm-hmm.
own will. Um, Most of the time that doesn't work,
Okay.
and when that doesn't work, when you're trying to do it yourself, the only thing that you can lean on is your faith.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we don't want to use our faith because we want to try to figure it out ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's faith or if you don't believe faith, there's always people in our corner that we can lean
Mm-hmm.
on to help. Because God can use whomever He want to use to be there in the time of need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So faith is big to me,
Okay.
but it only takes a little bit.
Would you say a little bit go a long way?
A little bit go a long way. 'Cause a lot of times he just wants you to call out his name,
Mm-hmm.
and say, okay, I'm here to help you. But a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times we don't want to do that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it just kind of prolongs the whole thing.
Okay. Um,
Yeah.
have there been times that you've noticed that, maybe that, because I know that I have been, stubborn at different times for whatever reason and figure that I needed to do things myself. And I think that there has been at times, I would say not necessarily a conflict, but you may be raised to do things on your own, even if you have a spiritual foundation or a religious foundation. I think, especially, I want to say for people of color, where um, we are taught to work a lot and figure things out a lot and move through things and push through things. And I think that sometimes I can only speak for myself with this, that because I have that in my ear sometimes, I forget about the regular just take a moment and be still and commune and everything will work itself out. Because the other, at times, because it comes from so many different directions, especially in
Hmm.
my past, where that was more in the way of me taking a moment. Because sometimes you don't feel like you have the moment, but really we all have the moment. But it's like, okay, you got to do this and you got to do that. And if you haven't created space for that, I guess personal foundation of being able to reach out, then sometimes the other things just seem so loud.
Right. Right.
So,
This is true.
okay. Um, can you think of someone or something over a short period of time that has influenced you or had an impact on you?
Absolutely. I was introduced to a therapist,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know what it was that they really do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I was willing to give it a shot, a try,
Mm-hmm.
and um, and I realized that we all sometimes deal with things or carry things uh, on our shoulders that we really don't deal with,
Okay.
and it kind of opened my eyes to kind of see things a little differently and kind of just deal with those things that could have came from childhood and past experiences and things like that. So that tremendously impacted my life when I
Mm-hmm.
decided to do counseling.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like that person's name or
No, no, it's not required.
okay,
I remember my first time getting therapy
okay,
um, was in college.
okay,
So, and I had to do it for several different reasons. I first, I think, sought it out just because of some of the different things I'd experienced, just in life, with being raised the way that I was raised, and mental health impacting me early because of my mother, and being raised by an older single father, partially, and just his passing as soon as I got to school. So it was like a few things that kind of sent me there, and then I was required to go um, when I was learning. So it was like, I did voluntary and I did mandatory.
Right.
And I found that everything was extremely helpful. That both times that I did go, because I had different therapists, so everybody has their way of working with people. Um, my first, I had some warm fuzzy, and then I had some like get in your face. And what I know about my personality is I respond better to the get in your face, and because if you warm fuzzy, I'm not gonna take you serious much.
Right.
Just because, once again, how I was raised. So I feel like that those were key experiences, and also getting life coaching a couple of times from different people too. I found that I got a benefit for, of course, the counseling part helped me emotionally, but the coaching part helped me with my goals. And I found that I was able to kind of get stuff accomplished. Um, Goal setting wise when I got coached.
Right.
So, but the emotional was definitely, I appreciate all of that. I'm still in therapy. I, go in, come out, go in, come out. I think
Right.
it's always good to have someone different to talk to. You also, I'm sure, of course, have your pastor or, certain people in the church as well for things too. Um, but being open to have outside, well, different um experiences with it as well.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so huh.
I said I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. So what would you say some of the qualities that you find important in your friendships and relationships?
Good qualities for me would be uh, great communication skills, trustworthy,
Mm-hmm.
um, compromising,
Mm-hmm.
uh, willing to say I was wrong. Please forgive me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, about it. I think those are more important for me when it comes to relationships and friendships because it's kind of hard to find those things that um, when you're looking for that friendship. I mean, it's easy to find a friend, but a true friend that really understands you would be
Mm-hmm.
one that is willing to compromise and understand you and understand that they're not perfect and we make mistakes and that it's important to let somebody know I'm sorry, I forgive you, or please forgive me. But
Mm-hmm.
those are things I look for.
So, would you say that you have always been those things, or is that something that you've grown to be better at?
Yeah, most of the things that I speak on now would be things that I have grown. This is not this I have not always been this way. But over the years going to therapy and still being in therapy, it kind of just opened my eyes to being different. That, a lot of times we're used to being a certain type of way
Mm-hmm.
our entire life and we get to a point to where it's like we're just complacent and we think how we think is right. But a lot of times we kind of need to just open our mindsets
Mm-hmm.
and being able to listen to people and not always think that we're right all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's good to put it's a reason we got two ears and one mouth. So a lot of times we need to be able to listen keep your mouth closed sometimes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So if you were to say out of the things that you listed in friendship that you maybe had the biggest challenge with, what would you say that would be?
Repeat that again.
So you listed out like communication, you listed out like loyalty, you listed out being able to compromise, being able to acknowledge, if you did something wrong and ask for forgiveness. Like I think I got all of them. I want to say you said one more, but I can't remember. I was saying
Compromise.
out of yeah, out of all of those, what do you think? So compromising is the thing you had the biggest challenge with. Would you say, or
Um,
and you said honesty? I think too. Yeah.
yeah, trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest one would be uh, communicating
Mm-hmm.
because there's a difference between communicating and properly communicating. Because one person can look at it and say, "I communicate because I talk to you."
Mm-hmm.
Properly communicating to me is trying to understand where I'm coming from, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times that takes compromise and
Mm-hmm.
being patient to try to understand the person that is being so quick to say, "Nah, I don't see it like that." A lot of times we don't know what place that person is coming from, so a lot of times we got to ask questions, be a little patient with the person,
Mm-hmm.
because we all don't think alike. We don't look at things the same.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know one of the things that I learned in talking to one of the people that I talked to, that I have been taught, but I had a real life experience. So I was like, oh, this is what they mean. Is how we often hear, with our own experience. So, so often I think in relationships with people, everybody's like, I didn't say that. I said da 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 da. But the person hears from their life experience. And so whatever you said made them think or reconstruct your words to mean what they heard. And then it's not an intentional thing, but it's a thing. And I was like, oh, I realized that like in real time when someone's like, okay, what just happened to you, like your whole mood shifted, like what I say that you just, like everything changed. And they were able to pick up that, oh, I said blah 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 blah, and I think you thought I meant, one thing, which is what I did think they meant, but they meant something totally different, and the words were exactly the same. But because of me hearing a phrase so many times and always had to be defensive to the phrase, when they said the phrase, I'm like already on guard, like trying to work with, as I was working with patients and not being angry, or not, allowing myself to respond a certain way. But I was like, dang, that is so interesting. Words were exactly the same, but because I heard them with the history of me being always defensive, I was
Right.
defensive, but then I was like, as soon as they said, oh, this is what I meant, I was able to just kind of calm down and just be in
Right.
the moment, answer the question, and everything was good. Like, because sometimes I think, like you said, if you just take that space to listen, like you were saying, and just trying to be patient and understanding when someone is, trying to explain to you how they're feeling or what they mean by a thing, you can get so
Right.
much further.
Right. Right. You definitely can.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't learn that until later in life. But
But that you learn, because some people ride out here without knowing, are trying to do nothing different.
right. Right.
So um, I often remind people, it's like, if that's not what you were raised with, how you gonna find out? Like, how do you know? Because so many people are similar. So it's not
Mm,
usually until you have some exposure to something different that you may even be open to the idea of doing something different.
right. Right.
Because I do believe like our past is just like, it's so like ingrained at times,
Yeah.
or even
Yeah.
our family structure.
That's true.
So. Yeah. Um, so what would you tell your younger self about how to best prepare for the future?
Mm, that was a tough one. Um, I would say, well, I would tell my younger self a lot of times when we're younger, we hear all these different older people giving us a lot of wisdom
Mm-hmm.
into different things that we shouldn't do
Mm-hmm.
that they did. But our mindsets are like, well, you did it, so why can't I do it?
Right.
But a lot, if we, I, w- I can't really say smarter, I don't know. But if we actually took that advice, a lot of times we would be in better situations. But the other flip side of it is sometimes we got to go through stuff to understand. But um, I would just tell my younger self to, take heed to wisdom
Mm-hmm.
when it comes your way. And it's not a, don't take it, a certain type of way because somebody's trying to help you.
Mm-hmm.
Because they actually had those life experiences, but it's not that they're trying to beat you up, fuss at you, but they're actually trying to help you. So if it was me, it was like, kind of just take that wisdom and advice and pretty much just that's what I would do. Just like I try to tell my kids at the same time. Um, they kind of try to figure out like, how do you know that I did that? I was like, because I've been there and done that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to help you so you don't make mistakes that I did.
Mm-hmm.
So um, and it could be simple stuff. You tell them not to eat candy, they might go upstairs and eat candy, put the candy wrappers on the bed, and you go up in the bed and pull it all out. I'm like, how you know I put that there? I did the same thing. So, so me being young, if I had to go back, I definitely would listen a lot more to
Mm-hmm.
what somebody's actually telling me that's been there and done that.
So,
Yeah.
a question. So, with that, do you think that if they said it different, you would listen, or, um,
Nah, I don't even think it's that. I think it's more so for me, just
mm-hmm,
a child mindset of wanting to know how it was like because you did it.
mm-hmm,
So you're still here. You turned out okay by these
yeah,
mistakes that you like. It's not gonna hurt me make the mistake. So I
mm-hmm,
think it's more so our mindsets and just how we looked at stuff as kids.
mm-hmm,
Talking about myself first, I can't speak about nobody else, but that's what I did. 'Cause a lot of times, you know, um, not to single anybody out, but there's some kids that kind of growed up in the church, and their parents might have been ministers and stuff, but it's like they were raised a certain type of way, and as soon as they got out the house, it's like those same ones is like just different. Like you wouldn't even know that they parents might have
mm-hmm,
been that. Not saying that it's all of them, but
mm-hmm,
there's some out there that pretty much decide they just want to live their life for themselves, and it was just totally different from how
what
they
they were.
were raised. Yeah, doesn't make you a bad person, but like I say, when you asked the question earlier about how I looked at what was that question you asked me? Um,
Which one?
I can't remember.
What about
Um, I,
friendships, or just kind of the beginning of this one?
I
Oh,
think about the book I was talking about the
oh,
judging
okay,
and
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
because we
pretty
all,
much like
mm-hmm,
yeah. So you pretty much just like somebody try to give you some advice, you don't want to take it. Hey, they didn't did their part. Now you got to go through the
mm-hmm,
things in life and the struggles and stuff because you didn't want to listen. So there's always a
mm-hmm,
price to pay for it. Um, even though we don't want to pay that price, but you're gonna have to.
mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
think sometimes though, what I notice with being raised, a particular way in a church, is if it feels super restrictive. Um, when you get freedom, you don't know how to handle it because everything was restrictive. And so it's like, you know, how they say the pendulum swing, you on this way, then you go all the way on that way just because it wasn't offered to you in a way.
Yeah.
And not that, you know, but I think there's always going to be the curiosity of what freedom looks like. And I remember, you know, being younger and having a cousin that had way more freedom. Um, and I probably snuck and did more because I had to, you know. But I noticed when you have freedom, sometimes you don't even have a desire to do a lot of stuff because she didn't really care about doing anything because she knew that she could, you know, and it wasn't a big deal. And her mom was, you know, present, but also gave her, you know, a little bit of freedom to just kind of do stuff. I, on the other hand, was more like, you can't do hardly anything. And I was just like, okay, let me figure out how I can work something in, you know, whether, even though it wasn't necessarily quote unquote bad stuff, it still wasn't, I wasn't at home when I was supposed to be. I'll just say.
Right.
so, so you know, I think that there's a thing that comes when things are restrictive, um, and I think sometimes we think that just because the outcome happened a certain way, and this me speaking for myself, for one person, um, that it wouldn't happen for everybody. Like, oh, if that may happen to you, but that may not happen to me. Certain
Right.
things I did definitely listen to because I also felt like, um, why not? You know, if it happened to
Right.
them, why would it not happen to me?
Right.
So, because I grew up more in that era of that the crack epidemic in Detroit or what have you, and so what I noticed is it didn't matter, some of the high ranking people to people on the street, they all ended up kind of the same place with that. And so
Right.
it was one of those things that kind of kept me away from certain stuff because it didn't matter who you was. That thing was affecting everybody from the people with money to the people without money, you know,
Right.
and they, you know, so I was like, ugh, that's one of the things where you could just be okay with looking at everybody because they all end up in the same place. So,
Right. Right.
so yeah. Um, so, what do you think people would be surprised to know about you?
Hmm. Um. uh. That just because you know me for a while doesn't mean I'm the same person.
Ooh, please explain.
um. The reason I say that is because um, a lot of times, like I say, people can judge you off your mistakes and your past, and they
Mm-hmm.
think they may know you.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I mean, they can stop talking to you, or they can always look at you as that same person. And this can not only go for
Mm-hmm.
me, but it can go for a lot of people. But a lot of times we, look at people because they made a bad choice or a mistake, and that we can't forgive them, or we look at them a certain type of way as if they ain't willing to change. So just me in general, like I always give people the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, you still deal with a person accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times that's just how I am. Like if you don't like me, you don't like me. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to bend over backwards to try to prove who I am.
Right.
I am. Long as I change for myself and correct the things that I need to correct, then I really don't really even worry about how they may, look at me
Mm-hmm.
because I have things. You know what I mean? Because like I said at the beginning, like everybody gonna have their time to where they gonna have to humble themselves and deal with
Mm-hmm.
themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that's what I would say.
Yeah, we do have a comment from Xavier Black that said they like that, and that's true. So, um, and I agree as well. We all change, but a lot of people forget that. That's absolutely true. I
Yeah.
think I see that most sometimes and you let me know if you agree. Sometimes, like in families and, maybe some friendships, that they get accustomed to who you were and not acknowledge who you are. And I think, like, especially, like I said, for me, I want to say more family oriented, that they may have known you being whatever you were when you were growing up. Um, and then you a whole brand new person, adult, done, parenting, married, whatever, all of the things that you've done, business, and everything else. And people still treat you the same as
No,
way,
the question. I
way
mean,
back.
but the question is why can't they acknowledge it? Because that's to me that still comes from a place that maybe they're dealing with something that they can't even see. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I say a lot of times I do it for myself. I don't really do
Mm-hmm.
it for them.
Mm-hmm.
So whether they see it or not, like you can stay where you at. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
move forward. You know,
Yeah.
so that's how I look at it.
Yeah. So, definitely. So them being stuck kind of throws everybody else in a stuck barrel to them, huh? Because that's what it sounds. Like when some people, they're stuck, then they can't see. If they
Right,
can't acknowledge that you've done certain things different, or the way that you communicate is different, or, um, whatever the change may be, if they can't see from whatever was to whatever is, that is a them issue,
right,
because you done already
right,
showed them something different.
right.
Um, and Xavier said, if a person left a really bad first impression, it's hard to overcome. That's true. I don't even know what to say about that one. Because if it's bad in the beginning, yeah, you. But the other part, like they say, if it's bad, only way up to go, only way to go is but up.
Yeah,
But I don't know, and I guess that would be the thing, because it's like, even if you did make a bad first impression, if you have since done and shown yourself to be different, could you have just had an off day, or do we judge and make that was who they were, or that's who you are, because you had a bad first impression, or what have you?
right.
And do you think it'd be different, if they acknowledge, ooh, my bad, that first time I was on one?
That'd be good if they did.
Yeah. So I
That'd be
think,
good.
some of the other
But
thing is,
not all people even know that they are a certain type of way. I mean,
hmm,
sometimes it take them, 5, 10 years before they figure out that I've always had this issue.
mm-hmm,
You can somebody in your face telling you that for so long and you just don't see it. So at the end of the day, it's like you have friends, you lose friends, and you don't
mm-hmm,
even still see yourself. You know what I mean?
right,
So people have choices. You deal with what you can deal with, and if you can't deal with it, move on.
right,
But don't judge that person and look at that person because at the end of the day, you always got fingers pointing back at you. If you can deal with it, deal with it. If you can't, move on. And if you can, try to help them out.
mm-hmm,
Keep telling them. You know what I mean? Like if you got to tell them for 2, 3 years, do that. If not, move on.
yeah. A comment as well is, think of some of the people we choose not to deal with anymore, because of whatever, which is absolutely correct. So, yeah. And you do it for yourself, and it isn't for other people. And whether they get it, that's fine. And we have all made choices, I believe, because I know I've made several choices about, just kind of what the connection is. Okay. Hey, you still there? Hello, hello. I think I will give it a second. So I'm not sure what technical difficulties are occurring in this moment. Thank you for being here. I don't know if they gonna have to go out and come back in. We shall see.
Here we go.
Oh, okay. I was just about to text. I was like, what happened?
Hold on, let me get my mic back on. Hold up. Hmm. I'm trying, people. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you fine. Is that what? Can you hear me? Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I was able to hear you the whole time. Can you hear me? After you came back, I was able to hear you. I'll say that. Don't seem like you can hear me though. Eh. Can you hear me? Now you got the mic off. Let's see. Can you hear me? Can you hear me yet? Uh, maybe I don't know. Since you can't hear me, I don't know what to see. Maybe you can get that.
I don't know
You
what
still can't hear?
happened.
You using your earpiece? Can you hear? Can you hear yet?
Anything?
I've been
Can you hear
hearing
me?
you. Yes.
Oh, you can hear me?
I've been able to hear you the whole time.
God almighty, man.
You can't hear me, huh?
I can't hear.
You want to go out and come back in? We shall see. We shall see. Can
I'm
you hear
sorry,
me?
y'all. I can't hear anything no more.
You can't hear nothing? Go
Nothing.
out. Go out and come back in. I can't. I don't know how to sound. Let's see. I don't know how to get you another message. Oh shoot. Ah, I just messed up. So maybe. Oh, you're so smart. Thank you. But I done clicked him off, so maybe he'll come back in anyway. ah, well, maybe he will come back in. Let me see if I can mute myself. Well, thank you all for patiently waiting. Let's see.
Okay, I hear you now.
Amen. Look, my friend was like, write a note. I was like, I didn't think about writing a note, but I was writing a note. Go out and come back in.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No control over certain things. They just happen. So it is
Right,
what
right.
it is. Okay. So the next question is, what would you say motivates or inspires you?
Um, Things that motivate me would just be basically just being around positive people.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you can't control the negative that comes your way, but um, just positive people, seeing people who are doing good, who always, speaking highly of you, people who are motivating you, encouraging you to do better, just kind of standing behind you, just being there for you. Those type
Yeah.
of people, helps you along the way,
Mm-hmm.
keeps you going.
I think that is imperative. And it's good when you're able to have it. And I think I would still wonder what it's like for the people who don't. Because I think that's
Right.
one of the things we take for granted is that we have good friends, but there are so many people, for whatever reason, whether it's small families and then loss or what have you, that may not have the same type of connections. And I think I've been more grateful that the people that I do know and have been there usually for a while, and we're kind of on the same page. And even if you don't talk daily or monthly, even, that it's kind of the same. You can be with some people and it's always the same. Like they always got your back, you got theirs. It doesn't matter whether you do talk or don't talk, that you can go and share your most intimate thoughts or feelings and that they'll be there. Um, I think that's a good thing. Um, do you feel like there's anything that people tend to misunderstand about you?
Mm, I never really thought about it.
Okay. Would you say I care less what they think?
Yeah, I think it's. think it's wasted energy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because it's like I'm actually taking the time to even think what you think of me.
Right.
I would prefer if I'll consider what it is that you're saying about me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'll kind of dwell on it to see if it's actually true. Cause I
Mm-hmm.
do know a lot of times we might be like, nah, that ain't me, that ain't me. But I'll consider and actually evaluate myself.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, yeah, I would do it like that. I would evaluate myself, because what you're saying can be true. And but pretty much like me actually trying to worry about how they feel about me. No, I don't think about that too much.
Don't sound like you think about that at all. Let's just say what they think about me is their business, huh?
Yeah,
Which is a
sure.
good way, because I think that's what unfortunately causes a lot of people a lot of angst, is being worried or concerned about how they're perceived by others. I think
Yeah,
that's been like a major thing for a lot of people is um, kind of like FOMO oriented stuff, like wanting to be a part of a crowd and wanting the people to like them a certain way, and just a
yeah,
whole lot of stuff I think is more promoted. And it takes a, to me, very grounded person to be able to say, like they get to have their thoughts, whatever. If they share them with me, that's cool. If I figure out that it's a thing, then, I'll pay attention, but it's still going to be an internal thing and not an external. So, those things are good, when you're able to do that. And, yeah. So what would you say that you are the most proud or grateful for of?
uh I would say life,
Uh-huh.
health,
Mm-hmm.
strength,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to just be around people that I love.
Mm-hmm.
um those would be the things for me that kind of
Mm-hmm.
make me great. I'm grateful just because I wake up in the morning. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of times we do take everything for granted. That
Mm-hmm.
I gotta do this tomorrow. I gotta do this tomorrow. Well, you don't know if you're gonna wake up tomorrow. So I'm thankful for it. Just every time I
Mm-hmm.
do wake up, being able to be that father that I want to be to my kids, and making sure that I put what I need to put in them so they'll be able to be successful kids and
Mm-hmm.
adults.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it for me.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say is the main thing that you do to that assists you with overcoming the challenges that you may face?
Mm. Um, I'll say praying and just putting one foot in front of the other, taking it day by day, and just
Mm-hmm.
always doing the best. Um, I think overcoming is just a daily thing, a daily walk that we all just have to be able to do. You know what I mean? Because like I said before, we're gonna fall. We can't beat ourselves up all the time. But if we really wanna be overcomers, we got to try to do what's right first of all,
Mm-hmm.
um, and start there. And
Mm-hmm.
and like we said before, stay around positive people who are going to be for you, people who are going to encourage you. Because even um, when I first went to therapy, I was like, therapy, like, nah, because I'm a barber. So, I hear different stories all the time about guys, talking about therapy and all this stuff. And I was one of the ones that, judged. It's like, you go
Mm-hmm.
to therapy, like, you pretty weird, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't say that to him, but, I was looking at him because, like, most men don't want to talk about
Mm-hmm.
um, certain things and deal with certain things. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
when I heard it, I was like, it's kind of weird. But,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I heard it from a client, and then I heard it from another person. And I'm the type of person. It's like, I like to listen. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that's my second time hearing that. So maybe it won't hurt anything. But I
Mm-hmm.
still went in with the mindset like, I'm here. I don't know if this is gonna help me. Let's give it a shot.
Okay. So it was still being open.
Yeah, it was being open. So, it did
Yeah.
help me. That's just one of those steps to, if you want to do better, you got to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You can't talk about it, you got to be about it. So if you want to overcome, you got to, you know, what they say, put your money where your mouth at or something like that. And that's how that go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh,
And I
okay.
have a question too, just
Mhm.
because you are a barber, who does have their own business. You was shy about saying that, like that's your shop. That you you acting like you working for somebody, sir.
I'm Barbara.
So, but being a barber and being around, a lot of males, I know that at your shop you have both coming in, but with men in conversation, and we always hear about kind of like the, I guess, barbershop therapy or barbershop what talk or what have you. Is that a place where you feel like a lot of support, advice, possibly checking people, you know? About certain things or what they said, is that a place where that's done, or do men hold people, each other accountable in that space, or does it kind of depend? This is a woman asking a question, so
First, it depends on what type of barber you're going to.
oh, touche.
It's almost like the same question about being around positive people.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got a barber that like mess, talk about
Yeah,
stuff that really don't mean anything, then that's what you're gonna get.
got
If
you.
you got one that listen to what you have to say and give advice, and all that stuff, like um, those are the things that I talk about in mine.
Mm-hmm.
Things that we're going to help them.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times you even may get somebody that come to you talking about a whole bunch of mess that don't make no sense, and you have to tell them like, nah, we ain't. You look.
Okay, what happened?
I don't know. Had another little glitch.
I can still hear you though, even though I can't see you.
You can't see me?
I can't see you. It may click in a minute. Did you get a message or something?
No.
Okay, yeah, I don't.
Huh? This.
Well, you can still hear me, correct?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so as you're working that out, as you were talking about, sometimes it depends on where you go barbershop wise. Um, and that you are a person who will, just kind of be open, honest, and know what you want in your space. Um, have you found that people who are not in a line with kind of what you're doing there, that they kind of don't come back, or have you found that you've been able to make a shift in people at times?
Um, they come back. Cause, cause people know. Okay. People know when, especially when you've been cutting their hair for so long, and been dealing with them
Right.
for so long. They know and understand if they're having issues and problems about certain things, and a lot of times we might um, be so busy in life to where we don't want to deal with stuff. But I got a lot of people would admit that they having issues and problems with certain things, but they just haven't took the time to actually do it. But I have
Mm-hmm.
a lot of guys that will really say, I know I need to go to therapy. I'm gonna try it out, James. Like
Mm-hmm.
But and as a barber, I ask them, have you tried therapy yet? Have you tried this? Because a lot of times as men being married, men come to the barber shop and they talk about their girlfriend or they talk about their wife.
Uh-huh.
So that's most the barbershop talk all the time. You know,
Okay.
being a barber, you hear about women folk all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you kind of got to give advice on y'all women folk.
I think it would probably be the same in certain beauty shops as well. And what I was gonna also say is for people in your position, because I think the same for beauticians and barbers and everything else that it is therapeutic. Your service is therapeutic, but I think because you're able to make people feel comfortable, and I think that is a gift when people do work on face, heads, what have you, that usually they are mostly safe spaces for people to
Mhm.
talk. So that's one of the things that I've noticed, because that's where you all have yours. And I remember before I start going to more individualized people who made sure, like from the time I had hair, I I was like, ooh, I can't do this being in a shop all day, this is crazy. uh, and like you
Yeah,
say, the conversations and everything else, I was like, this is too much. um, but when I started going to people who honor time and who were professional and everything else, it just made a difference. And I did notice it didn't matter where I was at, everybody was sharing their business. Um, so it is definitely one of those spaces that, can be therapeutic, could be, depending on, like you said, where you're at, more harm than good.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So we are coming to a close anyway. So I'm not sure what's going, but at least I can hear you, so I'm gonna keep moving.
I thought you still can see me.
I still can't see you. I don't know what that is. I still cannot see you. It is like a black screen, and so, but we hear you fine. So I'm gonna just roll with it. Oh, wait a minute! You're almost coming back. You know what? Did you have your I'm not even fooling with you. I think you had your camera facing the wrong
I
way.
didn't. I mean, I always can see myself, but I was just, I don't know.
Okay. Because I was like, what's just happening? How can I? Because I see you now. So I was about to start.
Okay.
Um, but so we are coming to a close. I want to say thank you again for having a collaborative conversation with me, and sharing your time, sharing your wisdom. I'm sure there are some things that people, even on the replay, will get something out of it. And are there anything, first of all, give a shout out to your shop. We're going to do that first, sir.
You want me to give a shout out to my shop?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Shout out to the shop, Professional Cuts and Styles. This is y'all owner, James Lightner. Want to give a shout out to Darnell Reginald Gaston. Shout out to Kiana Lightner, and Shannon Cook. Oh
Okay.
yeah, and I can't forget about my stepfather, Marquise. Shout out to you too, sir.
Okay.
Noriel as well.
And listen, what are the services and where can they find you? Do you have social media, or what's the best way for anyone to get in touch with you?
The address is 564 North Anderson Road. That is Rock Hill, South Carolina. We do service in natural hair, loctician, men's cuts, razor shaves, fades. We do appointments.
Okay.
If you want to reach me, you definitely can reach me on StyleSeek, and that is www.styleseek.com/James Lightner. You also can reach us at www.professionalcutsandstyles.com, and you'll be able to see all the barbers and stylists there.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Because you, like I said, acting like you work for somebody else.
Try to be
You
humble.
just,
Try to be humble.
uh, but you, okay, so, but this is the thing. It doesn't make you less humble to be proud of what God has given you. You know, if God
Yeah,
has given you these things and you are blessed, you get to share that. And we also get to be good business people,
that's right. That's right.
you know,
I
so
accept that. I accept that.
okay, because sir. Okay, so that was your promotion. Are there any words of encouragement, you know, from this conversation that you would like to impart on anyone else or someone else, or words of
um,
wisdom, encouragement, or what have you?
um, keep being who you are. Stay encouraged. Keep your head up and always put one foot in front of the other. Take it day by day.
I know that's
Yeah.
right. All right. Well, thank you so much. We are going to close now. And like I said, I want to say thank you for sharing your time, sharing your wisdom. This is something that I just started doing this year and really enjoyed just the diversity of talking to various people because everybody has something to impart or share with someone else. And I'm glad that, you know, people take their time out of their schedule to sit with me and talk about life because I didn't have that experience so much. You know, usually you know, people like, oh, you know, you scoot over there and then other people talk. And I just think that having something that people can refer back to and get, you know, a gem here or there is pivotal in changing lives.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, thank you. We're going to close now.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Good night.
All right. Have a good one.
Thanks. Peace.
All right. Wow.